everybody, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to the Dice Tower Award Nominations video. This is just going to be a fairly short video where first I'm going to talk about how we put the Dice Tower Awards together. We're going to introduce the nominations and then I'll take a little bit of Q&A and we'll head out. There will be a list of these nominations on our website when this video is finished, so if you missed anything here you can go back and see them there. So the Dice Tower Awards is a group of people, all the different people who are involved with the Dice Tower, and there are a lot of them, whether contributors, people in the Dice Tower staff, and lots of other video bloggers and podcasters. They all get together and vote. And in fact, I work really hard to try to put together as diverse a cast as possible so that we have people who like as many different games as you can think of coming together to vote on the games. I don't even vote unless there's a tiebreaker. I get to break the tie, and in this case, there wasn't any. So I had nothing to do with this slate of nominations. So every year people are like, of course Tom picked this game. No, I didn't. With this in mind, what we do each year is, first of all, the beginning of the year, everyone just starts spewing out games. I think this game, this game, this game. We put them in categories. We go through the categories and we try to take games out that don't fit in that category. And then we eventually have a list, and everyone votes on that list for the ones they think should be nominated. And the top 5 in each category, with the exception of Game of the Year, the top 10 in that category are nominations. And we're going to be introducing them today in alphabetical order, not by the number of nominations they got, because that doesn't matter. Once we do this, we'll take another month, and then we'll be voting on these. And then at that point, the ones that win, the one that gets the most votes, will be announced at Dice Tower Convention. So we'll do that there. And again, I don't even vote in those either, again, unless it's to break a tie. So that's how the award nominations come about. Now, sometimes there's some question of what year did something come out in. And we always try to pick the year that it came out in a widespread English version, which is kind of thing, but there has to be an English version for sure. And sometimes you'll go to Board Game Geek and it'll say the game was 2017 or 2016. No, but it didn't come out actually to people till 2018. So that's what happens sometimes in that case. And sometimes it might have been even released the last week of December, whatever, we just rolled into the following year. And we make those calls. And these are for games that came out in the year 2018. So let's get started. So we're going to start with the best family games. These are games that we think are great for families to play, or casual games. So the 5 nominees for best family game are Fireball Island, designed by Rob Daviau, J.R. Honeycutt, Justin Jacobson, Chuck Kennedy, and Bruce Loon, and published by Restoration Games. We have Gizmos, designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by Come On Limited. We have My Little Scythe, designed by Hobby Chow and Vienna Chow and published by Stonemaier Games. And we have Reef, designed by Emerson Matsuuchi and published by Next Move Games. And finally, we have Space Base, designed by John Clare and published by Aldrich Entertainment Group, or AEG. So once again, these are your best 5 nominations for the best family game nominees. All right, well, that's family games. So now let's go ahead and jump into best artwork. So best artwork, what we're trying to do with the artwork is we're trying to pick the games that we look at the art of the games when we pick these. It doesn't matter if the game is good or bad. We're not picking it because we like the game, but because we think the artwork for that game is fantastic. So here are the 5 nominees for best game artwork. First, we have Cerebria. The art here is from Pedra Alberta, Toby Allen, Vilo Farkas, and Jamie Schell, and the publisher here, Mindclash Games. We have Everdell, the artist Andrew Bosley, published by Starling Games. Grim Forest, artist Noah Aldman, Lena Cassette, and Dave Forrest, and the publisher Druid City Games. Rising Sun, the artist Edgar Skalmarowski, Adrian Smith, and the publisher Come On Limited. And Root, artist Kyle Farron, publisher Leader Games. So once again, we have the best game artwork nominees and these 5 games. All right, let's jump to Most Innovative Game nominee. Now, innovative is a hard category, right? Is something innovative or not? You'll certainly have people argue about this one till the cows come home. And not every year is going to see a game that has something so innovative we've never seen it before. But maybe it puts something together in a way we haven't seen it before, or it just feels like a different breath of fresh air. So that's what these games are. So here's the top 5 nominees for innovative games. First, we have Chronicles of Crime, designed by David Cicero and publisher Lucky Duck Games. Detective, designed by, and forgive me if I mispronounce many of these names, Przemysław Reimer, Ignacy Trebuchek, and Jacob Lappet, published by Portal Games. Keyforge, designed by Richard Garfield, published by Fantasy Flight Games. Nyctophobia, designed by Catherine Stipple and published by Pandasaurus Games. And The Mind, designed by Wolfgang Warsch and published in America by Pandasaurus Games. So again, your 5 nominees for Most Innovative Game are these following. All right, so reprints. The best gaming reprint nominees. These are games that have been reprinted. Sometimes there's been a lot of changes to the game, sometimes a few changes to the game, but it's back in print for us to see in a nicer, newer edition. So here are the nominations for best reprint this year. First, we have Brass Lancashire, designed by Martin Wallace, published by Roxley Games. Then we have Fireball Island, designed by Rob Daviau, J.R. Honeycutt, Justin Jacobson, Chuck Kennedy, and Bruce Lund, published by Restoration Games. Endeavor, Age of Sail, designed by Carl D. Visser and Jarrett Gray, and published by Burt Island Games and Grand Gamers Guild. High Society, designed by Rainer Knizia and published by Ravensburger Spielverlag. And The Estates, designed by Klaus Zock and published by Capstone Games under the brand Simply Complex. So once again, your nominees for Best Game Reprint, here they are. All right, Best Strategy Game. Now, of course, all games have strategy in them, but these are the games that you get together and you are, trying to figure out how to win the game at all costs. Well, whatever, strategy games. So here are the 5 nominees for that. First, we have Brass Birmingham, designed by Gavin Brown, Matt Tollum, and Martin Wallace, and published by Roxley Games. Then we have Coimbra, designed by Flaminia Brassini, Virginio Gigli, published by Eggertspiel. We have Root, designed by Cole Whirl, published by Leader Games. Teotihuacan, designed by Danielle Tassini, and published by NSKN Games. And Underwater Cities, published by Delicious Games. So once again, the Best Strategy Games nominees are the following 5 games. All right, Best Production. This is we take everything into account, not just the artwork, but whether there might be miniatures, there might be wooden pieces, just the whole thing. When you put on a table, the components of the game, you're like, wow. Again, this has nothing to do with how much we like the game, but just how fantastic the game looks. So the 5 nominees are Brass Birmingham from Roxley Games. We have Everdell from Starling Games. Fireball Island, the reprint and remake from Restoration Games. Grim Forest from Druid City Games. And Rising Sun from Command Limited. So the best production nominees are the following 5 games. Alrighty, let's take a look now at the best expansions. These are expansions to base games. And how much do we like the expansion? How much did the expansion add? Not how much we like the base game, but how well did this expansion add to the base game? The 5 nominees are Great Western Trail, Rails to the North, designed by Alexander Pfister, published by Eggertspiel. Role Player, Monsters and Minions, designed by Keith Matikja, published by Thunderworks Games. Root, the River Folk, published by Cole Whirl, or designed by Cole Whirl, published by Leader Games. Scythe, Rise of Fenris, designed by Ryan Lopez de Vinspre and Jamie Stegmaier, and published by Stonemaier Games. And Terraforming Mars Prelude, designed by Jacob Frixilius and published by Frix Games and Stronghold Games. So once again, the best expansion nominees are the following 5 games. All right, let's take a look now at the best game from a small publisher. Now, the way a small publisher works is we pick publishers that have 5 or fewer games at the time they publish this game. Sometimes the publisher comes and bursts with a whole pile of games, so by the time you look up at this list, you say, are they a small publisher or a game super popular? It doesn't matter. If they have 5 or fewer games at the time this game came out. So here are the nominees for best game from a small publisher. Chronicles of Crime, designed by David Cicero, published by Lucky Duck Games. Obsession, designed by Dan Halligan and published by Kayenta Games. Root, designed by Cole Whirl, published by Leader Games. Underwater Cities, designed by Vladimir Suchi, published by Delicious Games. And Vindication, designed by Mark Needlinger and published from Orange Nebula LLC. So once again, here are the nominees for best game from a small publisher. All right, best cooperative game. This is, the games where you're working together against the game, a very popular category we like to promote. So here are the nominations for best cooperative game from 2018. Starting with Chronicles of Crime, designed by David Cicero, published by Lucky Duck Games. Detective, designed by Przemysław Reimer, Ignacy Trebuchek, Jacob Lapat, published from Portal Games. Just One, designed by Ludovic Rowdy and Bruno Salter, published by Repos Production. Stuffed Fables, designed by Jerry Hawthorne and published from Plaid Hat Games. And The Mind, designed by Wolfgang Warsch and published by Pandasaurus Games. So the nominees again for best cooperative games in 2018 are these. All right, let's take a look at games that are meant for 2-player games at this point in time. The game is a game for 2 people to get together. It might allow more players, but it's a game focused on 2 players. And here are the nominees for best 2-player games of 2018. First, we have Dualisar Island from Ian Moss and published by Pandasaurus Games. We have Haven, designed by Alf Seeger and published by Red Raven Games. Keyforge, designed by Richard Garfield, published by Fantasy Flight Games. Mythic Battle Pantheon, designed by Benoit Vogt, published from Monolith and Mythic Games. And again, this is one of the ones I mentioned that had an earlier release date if you look at it, but actually didn't hit till January of 2018. And War Chest, Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson are the designers, published by Aldrich Entertainment Group, AEG. So the best 2-player game nominees are the following 5 games. All right, let's take a look at the best new designer. Now, best new designer is always kind of a tough one to do. So what we do for best new designer is if it's their first or second game came out in 2018. Sometimes a designer does a really small game no one's ever heard of, and their second game is their actual first game or what have you. So these are the best new designer nominees for 2018. First, we have Catherine Stipple with Nyctophobia, which was published from Pandasaurus Games. Then we have David Cicero, who designed Chronicles of Crime, published from Lucky Duck Games. Ivan Lashin, who designed Smartphone, published by Cosmodrome Games. Tim Eisner, who designed Grim Forest, published from Druid City Games. And Wolfgang Warsch, who came out with 3 games in 2018, Ganz Clever, The Mind, and Quacks of Quedlinburg. Published Quacks from North Star Games and The Mind from Pandasaurus Games and Ganz Clever from Stronghold Games. So your best new designer nominees are the following 5. These are the games from these publishers, these designers. All right, party time! The best new party game nominees for 2018. Party games are looked down on by many gamers, but not from us here at Dice Tower, because these are the kind of games you want to take to family gatherings. Here are the best party games from 2018. The nominees are Decrypto, designed by Thomas Dagnas L'Esperance and published from Yellow Games. We have Drop It, designed by Bernard Locke and Uwe Rapp, published from Cosmos, or Thames Cosmos. Just One, designed by Ludovic Rowdy and Bruno Saltier, published from Repos Production. The Mind, designed by Wolfgang Warsch, published by Pandasaurus. And Trap Words, designed by Jean Brezina, Martin Haberleck, and Michael Pozarek, and published from Czech Games Edition. So your nominees for Best Party Game are these 5 games. All right, let's jump now to Best Theming in a Game. This is a category where either the theme was really well implemented or it was a new theme, but the theme came through very strongly in these games. Here are the 5 nominees for Best Theming. Chronicles of Crime, designed by David Cicero, published from Lucky Duck Games. Detective, designed by Przemysław Reimer, Ignacy Trzewiczek, Jacob Lapat, published from Portal Games. Root, designed by Cole Whirl, published from Leader Games. Stuffed Fables, designed by Jerry Hawthorne, published from Plaid Hat Games. And Western Legends, designed by Hervé Lemaitre, published from Colossal Games. So the nominees for Best Theming in a Game nominee are the following 5. And finally, Game of the Year. So there's 10 nominees here. Nothing else matters. Which games do we think were the best of the year? Here we go. The top 10 nominees are Architects of the West Kingdom, designed by Shen Phillips, S.J. McDonald, published by Garfield Games and Renegade Games. Brass Birmingham, designed by Gavin Brown, Matt Tolman, Martin Wallace, publisher Roxley Games. Chronicles of Crime from David Cicero, published by Lucky Duck Games. Everdell, designed by James Wilson, published from Starling Games. Rising Sun, designed by Eric Lang, published from Command Limited. Root, designed by Cole Whirl, published by Leader Games. Teotihuacan, designed by Danielle Tassini, published from NSKN Games. The Mind, designed by Wolfgang Warsch, published from Ravensburger Games. And Underwater Cities from Vladimir Suchy, published from Delicious Games. And Western Legends, designed by Hervé Lemaitre, published from Colossal Games. So here are the Game of the Year nominees, all 10 of them. All righty, well, that's the nominees for the year. At this point in time, before we shut this video down, if you guys have any questions for those watching live, I'll answer some of those now. This is going to be online as soon as we can. We'll put up a page with all this information so you can check it out. We'll be sending out press releases too. The awards will be voted on at the end of June, and at the beginning of July at Dice Tower Convention, we'll announce the winners here. Now, when I answer your questions, I'm not going to answer, in this particular case, on my preferences. My preferences for games is pretty widely known because I review all these games. But if you have any questions about anything else concerning Dice Tower Awards, I will answer them here. Am I happy with the nominations? I'm always happy with the nominations. I certainly take a hand at it, but I'm always surprised to see some games come up. And it's just interesting to me to see. Every year there's a couple games that are in a lot of categories, and people are like, oh, I can't believe this game. But I don't know what people want to happen. Do they want a game, if it's really amazing, to not win a lot of awards? If a game is worthy of winning a lot of awards, it should. We'll have to wait and see. How's Architects not in Best Small Publisher from Garfield? Well, it just wasn't nominated, and probably we considered it. We usually consider it was a co-publishing with Renegade Games, and so that would have been a hard one to say small publisher when Renegade helped there. Let me look at these other questions here. What's in the cup? Water. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm trying to drink as much as I can. Let's see. Did anything surprise you? Yeah, I was surprised by a couple games making the list, but again, I'm happy. It was pleasant surprises. And then, of course, some people are saying some games don't deserve to be on the list. Some games do deserve to be on the list. That's the very nature of awards. What is the best type of public subs? That's not in our nomination things. Let's see. Quad Heroes for components. I don't think, see, there's some games like Quad Heroes I got and reviewed this year. So this is 2019. We're talking about games that came out in 2018. Let's see. I thought the party games were more than 4 players. Well, that's not a rule. A party game's a party game. It doesn't have to be more than 4 players. Favorite candy to bring to a movie? Are we at? Do you know everyone who will vote? No, I know most of the people who are going to vote. It's anywhere from 70 to 100 people who vote. You know, some people don't vote. Some people vote only on some of the awards. Sometimes the people may have a game in a category, in which case they can't vote in that particular category. At Dice Tower Con, we will do these awards live. We have trophies for the winners, and if you're coming to Dice Tower Con, which you should, you can still sign up to come. You'll be able to come and attend those and see who wins live. Are there any other categories you might add in the future? Sure. We're always looking at different categories. Sometimes a category doesn't have enough games, or there's not enough people to vote on a category properly. Like, for example, there's no children's game category because that would be essentially me and like 2 other people on the list. There are very few people in the Dice Tower Awards play kids games. I do, and some other people do, and we would vote on those kids games only. And so that would be it wouldn't be enough for a big quorum. Does Wolfgang Warsh have the strongest initial show of a new designer? For sure. Most of the time they have 1, maybe 2 games a new designer. He had 3, and all 3 hit the nomination list. Do they have to play the game to vote? Well, I hope people play games before they vote on them. What do you use to decide a year a game came out? No, we internally decide that. And I personally, I have a pretty good grasp on if a game came out because we know when, we're watching when the games hit. So usually it's the Kickstarters that are not quite sure, but the Board Game Geek page is not always correct, and in fact is frequently incorrect because the company will go in there and say this is a 2017 game, but then it actually doesn't go to people until 2018. And so by the time it gets to people, but no one ever goes back and bothers to change it. So it can be really confusing sometimes, the dates on Board Game Geek. Why no strongest theme category? That's what the thematic game category is. Was Spirit Island a 2017 game? It was indeed. It was not a 2018 game. Let's see here. The Oscars unofficially have a Prestige Awards. What would you consider the Prestige Awards for Dice Tower Awards? I don't know what that means. What are the Prestige Awards? I don't know what those are. Aren't the Oscar Awards the Prestige Awards? Yeah. I mean, we've considered doing other awards before. At some point, we're going to put together a Hall of Fame, and there may be Lifetime Achievement Awards and stuff that show up in Dice Tower eventually, but not right now. Alrighty, well, looks like we're getting questions that have nothing to do with the awards at this point in time, so we'll shut this down. I appreciate all of you coming on board and watching, and I want to say thank you to everyone who put this together. Roy and Chris both put together this presentation and put together these. Rob Sering helped put together the website and put the logo together based on initial designs from Tina. And so to everyone who voted and put this together, and of course Jason Levine will be taking over now with the actual voting, and he handles everything, putting the trophies together. So I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We have more videos going up now and over the weekend, and we'll see you back here live at a Q&A at 10 o'clock on Monday. Until next time, my name is Tom Vassell. You've been watching the Dice Tower. See you later.